Yeah, so if we take an old pair of Army boots and completely rebuild it so it can last another 60 years, then we'll do that. If it's a leather jacket with incredible wear and wash to it, that the zippers are broken, the pockets are busted, the liner's screwed up, we spend the time to do all that restoration and do it really carefully, that appeals to people, and those are the people that we sell to.
You've been in the game for a while.
30 years, yeah.
30
I started in 1994, and now we're in 2024. In my case, I've never really been a guy going to rag houses, or never gone to what are called the bins, where everything's $1 or $2 or whatever. So I've always been buying a secondary way. So those people find it for the best price they can, and then they sell it to me for something close to what they imagine they can get at retail for it. So if they think that they can sell it for $100 at retail, maybe they'll sell it to me for 80,
yeah.
Especially if they bought it for $5, right? You know, $5 or $10.
Yeah, but it puts you in a sort of interesting margin position where you're paying somewhat close to retail, and you'd still need to be able to squeeze out more value out of that. So
there's a common difference between, let's say, flea market retail and
in consumer.
Yeah, right, exactly. So just like you would find a high-end Chinese restaurant with $100 a person for dinner, or some strip mall Chinese place where each one's like $7 a plate, right? So the experiences where you're going to have a big difference. Experience the smells, the people you might be sitting next to at the table. So I think that's how we've differentiated ourselves compared to regular flea market dealers, is the consistency of our selection, the insane knowledge we have of our product, and our ability to make a pair of jeans fit in a great way. So it's very common that a girl will come in and buy a pair of 501s, a pair of jeans, and the waist is really loose to cover the hips, and we'll bring in the waist and make it perfect like a factory job. So I think all those things add up to the value add that
goodwill, sort of.
Yeah. So if there's some guy in Indiana who, or Iowa or Wyoming, wherever they are in the vintage game, if you can't find enough vintage to sell and you want to grow your business, I would say it's find what is there and then do that modification to it. You know, get some buckets and over dye them black, you know, in the backyard, or chop something up and
there's ways, is what you're saying.
Yeah, you embellish that thing, you know, put on a bunch of patches, and now, you know, on eBay you could buy a lot of 100 different patches in one shot, right? So get all those patches, come in and fill up a jacket full of patches, and, you know, express your creativity that way. So
now that leads me to another question, which is, when approaching vintage as a business, are you driven more so by your love of the clothing and the fabrics, or is it more so you and the sort of business-minded savviness that you...
The hustle of it.
Exactly, yeah. And I'm kind of curious what
Great question. So there's definitely some blend of it. So when you ask what cuts the paper, the top blade of a scissors or the bottom blade, really, you need both, right? So I think in my case, I have both. I have a passion for the jeans. Passion for a great example of leather jackets or boots and so forth. So it's the interest in seeing value, like, oh, that's a $100 pair of boots, but with the right amount of refreshing, it could be worth $200. Or a great pair of jeans that with the right amount of repair or restoration, it could be worth a lot more. So, and that's kind of my niche in this industry. Like, everyone has their niche of how they focus on the business, and mine, I would say, is look for things that look fantastic from a distance, but then when you get up really close to it, you can see it has little opportunities for improvement.
Interesting.
And so I improve those things.
I love that.
So, yeah. And the reference for that is like the best vintage Mustang that's out there that has sold for $100,000 or $200,000. That Mustang is very likely to be on new tires, right? It's not going to be rolling
You're 100%
around on the original 50s tires that are 60, 70 years old. That'd be dangerous, right? So like that, like fresh tires and, you know, fixing the upholstery on the car and maybe rebuilding the engine and transmission, all that kind of stuff, all that rebuilding makes the car more valuable, and it creates more interest in a wider amount of people. So there's a handful of people who just like it exactly the way it is, as is, garage found, just give it a quick wash and they're good. But the majority of customers want it to be, you know, they don't want to worry about it. They don't want to get broken down on the side of the road in Malibu somewhere, right? They want all those things done. And so I think our customers, we appeal to the people who want something like ready to go. You know, they're not looking to spend a bunch of money on something that already has headaches built in. This is the one that we did a video on a couple months back.
Oh yeah. A lot of folks saw this one.
Yeah, this one, it's sold, but I'm hand carrying it to Japan. So that's why we still have it, even though it's sold. And probably has one of the best washes that I've ever seen in these jackets. It's also a pretty big size. It's not a split back, but it's even though it's not a split back, it's actually a real big size. So, and this kind of wear on the arms of these jackets is not something you really see.
It's incredible.
So it still has the original leather tag, which again is another pretty unique detail. So this has never gone through a washing machine, this jacket. So when I got it, it was absolutely brown. The whole jacket was like that, just absolutely completely brown. And I dunked it in warm water many times to get all the dust and dirt out of it. And you could do it more. There's more to wash, but the customer said, no, I like it. I like that it has this, so let's not mess with it. It had some dings on it, so this shoulder was blown out originally. So we took it apart and did a little bit of mending on it and then put it back together again. I think it has that. Yeah, it has a little bit of that repair here on the seams as well. So, and does it, but nice thing for considering how extremely worn this jacket is, it didn't need a lot. Wow. It didn't really need much. So, yeah.
Are you able to tell us how much you ended up selling this one for?
I did. It was 28,000. So, yeah, it was we had it marked at 30, and the guy said, could you do a little bit better? And so with tax, it ends up being at 30. So he's like, well, can you discount it for the tax so we land at 30? Like,
yeah.
Okay. So
and you're going to be hand delivering it to him, you said, right?
Yeah.
At Inspiration, or just meeting him?
I think I'm meeting him before, but it could be at Inspiration.
Very cool.
Yeah, you can see there's another. That was a pretty significant damage there. So.
No, you did a great job on this.
Yeah,
This is crazy.
I think considering the color and the wash and the wear, like that's just kind of part of it. It's just par for the course to when you get something with extreme wear, you might expect it to need a little bit of tender loving care. Yeah, tender loving care.
When I kind of got background on you and your work, a lot of folks mentioned your collaborative efforts with some bigger brands. There's one in particular that I think it was okay if I mentioned. It was Supreme.
Yeah, Supreme was a massive deal. It took us a long time to get through it because there was so much quantity.
Go into it because we'd love to hear more about that.
Yeah, I mean, just sourcing, like getting the fundamental components was a challenge. We had to call several different suppliers to get it because any one supplier just didn't have the volume that we needed to complete the project.
Now, what exactly were you tasked with working on with Supreme? And by the
I'm more like a conductor, right? So I have staff that slice the hides into strips, and then on either side of that strip, they're punching the 5 holes for the belt, and then the buckle side, and then putting on the snaps and sourcing the jewels. I'm pretty good at the sourcing it. So obviously communicating with the customers, understanding what they want to do, and then I'm good at sourcing the base material that we need. There's several people that we work with, and oftentimes we get to use old stock, which is really cool. So some of the stuff that we used was literally produced in the 1950s.
Wow.
So imagine a Supreme belt with 1950s components on
incredible.
it. Right? Yeah. So literally a 1950s component and a brand new component, there's no difference in them. The glass jewels, there's actually no difference between them. The only way I know that it's old is because of the packaging.
Yeah.
I'm opening it up, the packaging, and the telephone number on it's like Wisconsin 483 or something like that. So yeah.
What's been your experience like working with brands like Supreme, other unnamed brands? Has that been a fruitful, positive experience, or has it been more of a time suck? Or
good question. So sometimes it can be like that, where it's not a very enjoyable thing, and so if we can't figure out what the problem is, then we don't go forward with that brand. But on average, the people are typically coming to us. They know about our reputation. They know what we do, and they're like, "Hey, we like what you do." That happened with Supreme, actually. They reached out to us. Yeah, the funny thing was they sent us an email, and we missed it. And like 3 months later, they called us. They contacted us back, and like, "You might not have seen our email. But
check your spam folder, folks."
Yes, exactly. Where's the wise? Check your spam folder. So it was like that. Like 3 months after they sent the initial email, they sent a follow-up on it, and they told us who they were. And it was like, oh my God, I know exactly who you are. Yeah, we're a skateboard brand. We have a store in Japan, a store in Europe, and
they're introducing
in LA.
themselves.
Yeah, exactly. As if we had no idea. Yeah. And it was really fun to go, oh, okay, yeah, I think I might have heard of you. So, yeah. So that was really, really cool. And they were open to suggestion, and it was insane. It was a huge project. So we've done stuff with a bunch of brands over the years. So a famous Japanese brand's called Hysteric Glamour.
Oh, of course, I'm sure. Right. Yeah, of course. So I'm sure a lot of our folks know about them. Hysteric Glamour.
We did a vintage military boot project for them that included 350 pairs of used military boots, which again, crazy ordeal to try to pull that together. I'm calling every guy I know, hey, do you have any military boots? And tracking them all down. And then once we got them, it was this major league teardown of the boot. All the stuff on the bottom of the boot all got removed and all got replaced with this white sole on the bottom and white shoelaces. And yeah, it turned out great. It was a huge success. So 350
That's
pairs.
Incredible.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, there's definitely people and Japanese people who don't appreciate what we do. And so I understand their mindset about it, and at the same time, like if I'm getting a pair of army boots from the Vietnam era or even earlier, like Korean War era, and restoring them and making them cool and interesting versus get shipped off to somewhere in Africa where they're just going to get chewed up and tossed, like let them chew up and toss a boot that was made last year. It's going to actually be better for the person who needs it, right? It's going to be a better quality boot as is versus an old, unrestored, unrepaired boot.
Yeah, go ahead and show it.
Yeah, this is an example of a 1940s, a late 40s army boots, and you can see it's kind of brown a little bit. And the reason why it's brown is the reason why it's black now is because the regulation changed where all brown boots had to go black. And so there's like a 1 year period where you find these boots where the soldiers took black shoe polish and just blacked them all in. And then afterwards they started making them as is from the factory, all black. Like that pair there is a all black pair. So, but again, if I wouldn't want to put this in a high-end retail store as is with the heel really stiff and also worn down. So our objective would be to take this completely apart and then put on a fresh material. Maybe lowering it down so it's an ankle boot versus a taller boot. So those are the kind of things we do. And the purist, for me, it's a little bit just noise. Like I don't really tune into it too much. I don't give it a lot of energy, I guess. So yeah, and we vibe with the people who think what we're doing is a great idea. Making something that's not useful, making it useful, right? why would that be a concern, right? Yeah, so this is a, maybe we should put on the puños too, huh? Sí. Ponemos en el puños también. Yo pienso que es ayudoso. So this is the brand that we're doing our first time collaboration. It's called Full Count out of Japan. We're making belts for them, and then he had seen, the owner of this brand had seen one of my jackets done on a vintage Levi jacket, and he said, hey, can we do something similar to that on our jacket? So this will be a collaboration. It's real turquoise and then brass studs. The one that we did had the studs only on one side, so he liked that idea to have it be asymmetrical. So you got studs here, and then around the bottom. So, and this again, these Levi style jackets are just so popular that they continue to recreate them to this day. So yeah. So yeah, this is kind of where it all happens. It's hectic right now, but we're very lucky to always have some project that we're working on. So some stutter. So these here are these are the beginnings of a wallet chain. So you can see the knockout there. So this goes like that. This gets folded back, riveted down, and then the chain comes from there. So you can see.
That's so sick.
Yeah. So it just starts off with a kind of lucky. It's like the scrap leather. So when we cut the leather strips, we're cutting it from the shape of a side of a cow. So there's parts like in the leg area or the stomach area that's won't work as a belt. So, but we still try to find some use for it. And so these are the good examples.
We have to do this just for everyone listening. We have to ask about the jeans. It's sort of the cliche at this point.
The crazy Kyle jeans.
So I'm sorry, sure. I have to rehash
it,
but our folks want to hear about it. Go ahead and kind of walk us through that process.
That was kind of an accident, actually. We didn't. Neither Kyle or I really went to
Kyle Golden State Vintage.
Golden State Vintage, yeah. Kyle. Him or I, neither of us really went there with the intention we got to get this jean. That didn't happen at all. Literally, in the moment after the auction had started, Kyle happened to be sitting behind me, and he leaned up on me and goes, what do you think of those jeans? And I said, I think they're fantastic, and I think it's a smoking good deal. And I've been in the business for almost 30 years, and I've only seen 2 or 3 other pair of this caliber in 30 years. So they're extremely, extremely rare. And this pair, although it has some issues, it's absolutely wearable. Versus a lot of these jeans where it's literally missing half a leg. Yeah. A lot of these jeans are missing half a leg. So, or they're like size 26 or something like that. So the fact that it was really, really beautiful and wearable and a good size, like all those things add up to being a crazy valuable jean. So as the auction went, I knew that the jeans had some kind of reserve on it, undeclared reserve. So I threw my hand up there, 50 grand to put on there with no true intention to get the jean. And then Kyle asked me, well, what do you think it might go for? I said, it's probably going to go 100 grand, given how crazy rare it is if the right people are online watching this and so forth. And he goes, well, I have some money. I might be interested in getting this. And he goes, I said, well, but he doesn't want to just completely trust what I'm saying. Put your money where your mouth is. I said, well, I'm good for 10% of whatever the thing goes to, up to 100 grand. I can put in 10 grand on it. Because again, I didn't plan to buy those jeans, and I came there with a budget to buy a bunch of other normal stuff, the repairable denim, that's like what I do. So back and forth on the bid, and then it ended up being some lady from Connecticut who was the underbidder with us, and we got it with all the fees. It ended up being like, I think $78,000. Yeah. And I think that's, I still believe it's a smoking deal. So there was a Mickey Mantle, Hank Aaron shirt just sold yesterday for like $24 million, right? Yeah. Babe Ruth, yeah.
Yeah.
$24 million Babe Ruth jersey, right? So is there any reason why that is worth that much more than the next thing? Well, it's because 2 or 3 people really, really wanted it, right? So I think it's the people who have the ability to buy something like that are the same people that we believe would be interested in our jeans. Just that we're ahead of them, right? Like we're ahead of them about understanding its uniqueness, its value, its social value, its intangible value. There's been an estimate that they've made all across the world globally since the beginning of jeans, billions of pairs of jeans, billions with a B. So imagine this is one of the earliest jeans to exist. So, and Levi's is an iconic brand. So it's like one of the first Ford cars, one of the first Chevys, or one of the first whatever. So in the context of crazy rare collectibles, I think what we paid is a fantastic value.
I think kind of taking a step back for a sec and looking at this as truly a defining moment within vintage. I know it sounds kind of absurd to say, but I think a lot of folks, if you were to sort of chart out the historical lineage of like what it is that you do and what other folks do, that is really a defining moment. And I think it's interesting that you're a part of that, and you're a part of that with someone very young, Kyle.
Yeah.
It's this merge between new and old in this very unique way that signifies something really great happening within vintage.
Yeah, I for sure share that point of view with you, that there's this renaissance happening. I think it all happened from COVID. A lot of people were not in school and they had a bunch of extra time, and well, what do we do with it? And oh, look what I bought this shirt for $5 and sold to someone from Australia for $100, right? Like all it takes is a few of those videos for TikTok videos or YouTube, or not YouTube, but Instagram videos where people are like, oh man. And that just got a lot of people interested.
If you were to put on sort of your future telling hat, your fortune telling hat, to tell us kind of what you think is going to either be trendy or popular, or what we're going to be moving to in vintage within the next 5 to 10 years, what would you say?
The good rule of thumb is whatever was popular 20 years before the time period that we were looking at is kind of what happens, is what I've noticed. So in 2030, whatever's popular in 2010 might be the thing that everyone's looking for. That seems to be the case. And a lot of movies get made that are they're looking at something that happened 20 years ago as a story reference, and they see all the people, the actors in those costumes wearing that. Right. No one wants to wear spacesuits on their everyday work, right? No one wants to wear a suit and tie on their everyday work. They wear it for work, but when you ask people what they want to wear, it's what we're all wearing, right? You're wearing what you want to wear today, and so are you, right? Yeah, you're not wearing a business suit because you have to. So,
luckily.
Yeah, so I think that whatever fashion trends are happening at the moment are going to be what's popular 20 years from now. So I believe personally that there are some things that are just going to be classic. A white T-shirt is just going to be a classic thing that everyone's going to want for their, for the end of time. A pair of blue jeans is going to be a timeless thing. Like we're not going to switch to green jeans, right? It's just going to be blue. I think so. Will people buy white jeans? Yes, and we have a good selection. Will they buy black? Yes, and we have a good selection. But our core business is blue jeans, right? So yeah. So this is currently the most valuable thing in our store. This is called the T-back or split back. And what makes it unique is the center seam down the back. And the reason why that exists is because at a certain point the jackets became so wide that the looms weren't wide enough to make one big panel. So they took 2 looms, cut it in a third, and then seamed it together like that.
Wow.
So you see this like that on these jackets, and these are crazy valuable. Probably in Japan, I think they start off maybe $40,000. For something like this kind of color or this kind of color, it's going to be $50,000-$60,000. Something like that would probably be $30,000 in Japan for a T-back Levi jacket. So by contrast, this one is retail basically $5,000. So it's 10% of what it would be. And the reason why this is expensive as it is it's a bigger size. So the bigger size jackets, again, to accommodate this panel, the width of the fabric being narrow, they added this seam here to fill it in. So they could have done that on that jacket as well, but they didn't. They just used that center seam. So this is the way you can tell that. And then as the jackets get smaller, this panel gets smaller, and then eventually it's eliminated. They don't have it at all. So that's a detail that guys like us are looking for, is these ones with this side panel. So that's what that is.
So I think when looking, whether at true vintage denim or sweaters, sweatshirts, there seems to be more of a pronunciation on price and size, and that sort of how those correlate with each other. Could you talk to us a little bit about that?
Don't let your girlfriend trick you. Size matters.
I feel bad about myself now.
So yeah, typically the more average the size is, the more valuable. Isn't that interesting?
Huh.
So the rarer sizes aren't necessarily more valuable, except right now in this 3, 4, or 5 year period, oversize is definitely a big trend. So the big size T-back Levi jackets are popular, big size sweatshirts are popular. And I can't say if that's just a trend and then people will go back to more fitted sizes, but I'm guessing maybe, and it's weird to say so, but that it could be climate change related, that as the world warms up, people want more loose fitting clothing. So they don't want it tight fitting. Yeah. So a loose fitting leather jacket, a loose fitting sweatshirt, a loose fitting pair of jeans. I know that people have been wearing jeans slightly oversized since the beginning. So if a guy's a 31 in his business suit slacks, he might be a 32 or a 33 on a pair of jeans. And the reason why is to not stress the fabric, right? This is you paid $2,000 for this pair of jeans. It's already a 50, 60, 70-year-old pair. You don't want to put a lot of stress on it. So wearing something slightly oversized where it's a little bit loose on your body prevents it from prematurely degrading. So I think it's a pendulum that will swing back and forth, especially on tops. So from wearing very, very oversized to more fitted, I think that the trend will be swing back to more fitted, but not tight like before. And when I was in this business, they want exactly tight fitting denim jacket, a flight jacket like an A2 flight jacket, they'll want that just size. But now I think at the moment it's loose, and that might last a while. If it's climate related and people just want to be comfortable because it's warm, then I think it might be here to stay. Or if it's just a fashion trend because some famous musician or actress wore it loose, then the next time she wears it more fitted, then everyone swings that way. So
interesting take. Time will tell.
Yeah, that's my guess about it.
Bidstitch gang, we are incredibly honored, blessed, and appreciative to be in the home of Zip Stevenson. Zip, could you plug your Instagram and your store, please?
Sure. The most commonly known Instagram is Denim Doctors. And for our boot business, it's Santa Rosa Boots, which Santa Rosa is my hometown. And there was a boot factory there back in the day that went out of business. So I kind of revived that name and do my boot business through that brand. So those are the
very cool
ones, yeah.
If you are in LA, come check out the shop, incredible service, curation, and Zip, of course, incredible guy. Thank you again, sir.
Thank you, yeah, thank you.